Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk about trolling. Not harassment, just good old-fashioned trolling. Because I have found what I believe is the most effective way to troll activists online now. And to be clear, it is my opinion that the best kind of troll is one where the actions that you take to troll someone are as innocent and innocuous as possible, while simultaneously getting as much of an overreaction as possible in return. This technique does accomplish exactly that in my opinion, and it also ends up being incredibly reliable, specifically because it exploits far leftist ideology. So what is this new method of trolling that I have discovered, you may ask? Well, whenever you have a far leftist that doesn't like you and thinks you're literally mustache man, the best and most effective way to troll them is to simply follow them on Twitter, aka X, and let them know that you are in fact following them now. You will most likely be getting some very visceral reactions from them as a direct result, which is hilarious when you realize just how innocuous hitting the follow button actually is. All it does is make it so that their publicly available tweets that they chose to make publicly available show up on your feed. A lot of far left activists that I've done this to will become so upset with you and so petty that rather than let you dare follow them on Twitter, they'll block and then immediately unblock you to get you to no longer follow them. The reason they don't typically just choose to block you and keep you blocked, most likely being a matter of pride because they don't want to concede the fact that you have managed to successfully troll them and get them to completely overreact over you merely hitting the follow button. Fortunately, there is a very easy exploit to counter this behavior. Simply continue to keep hitting the follow button and letting them know until they decide to block you for good, or give up and let your follow stick. So that is the new troll technique that I have discovered for far left activists on Twitter, aka X. But why is it so effective? Well, the reason is because far leftists are big on believing in guilt by association. This is why they keep trying to argue that because you follow some random person that they don't like on Twitter, aka X, they think therefore that you must automatically agree with every single thing that person has ever argued. Of course, that is a logical fallacy if there ever was one, and it turns out the fastest and easiest way to completely dismantle their entire line of reasoning with regards to the guilt by association fallacy is to simply make them become the proof that they are wrong by you following them. Either they have to admit that the guilt by association fallacy is simply a logical fallacy, or they have to believe that they themselves are ideologically the same as you. And since they think that you're literally the worst thing ever because of what they think you politically believe, then the mere act of you following them directly implies that they themselves are also the worst thing ever by their own line of reasoning. The great irony here is that there is always the possibility that should they ever screw up in the eyes of their own fellow activists, they could ultimately get cancelled because you dared to follow them. And as I've said, the far leftists believe in guilt by association. So yes, the mere act of you following a far leftist is itself also ultimately a threat to their standing within their own ideology, because these people are completely insane. So that's why they act with such utter revulsion. But as I've said, the ultimate punchline is just how innocuous the actions you take are to get that visceral overreaction. Hitting the follow button is not an invasion of their privacy in any way. All it does, like I've said, is make their publicly available tweets that you therefore have already had access to show up on your feed. It does nothing more. And it means nothing more either unless you are completely unhinged and believe in guilt by association. And that, in a nutshell, is why hitting the follow button is, in my opinion, the most effective way to troll activists on Twitter, aka X. I hope you have fun with this knowledge. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.